Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Joy Nook Book Club podcast. And we have a gentleman in the house, our second, well, no, he's our third gentleman. Remember, we already had two gentlemen join us, ladies, for our book club. And I'm very excited this is my first really science fiction novel that Allenia has had the opportunity to read. And I will say this, ladies, when I told you when we began this project that I am going to bring you independent authors that are really writing for us and we are missing out on them, I meant it. And our author for today, Aaron Colbert, is just one of those authors that I'm telling you, I didn't know, he didn't know me, I didn't know him, but he said yes to an opportunity. And when his book came, I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I got nervous. I said, oh my, this is a whole lot of book to read. And but the whole purpose of this book club is to stretch us, and it is to pull us and take us places where we otherwise would not, to get us out of our comfort zone, to allow us to think different and be different. And his book Origins, Testament of the One, is just that. I kid you not. I had my editor, who is, everyone knows, is my bonus daughter. She loves sci-fi. She loves sci-fi. And I had her be my co-reader on this because I said, "Girl, I said I'm scared. I don't know what I don't know if I can handle it." And I did better than I thought. I did better than I thought. I tell you, for those of you ladies that are out there that enjoy sci-fi and you want, and we all know that we all are, as Christians, we want to read different things. And this is such a thing. And I'm telling you, when you read it, you will definitely, it will keep your attention, and the layers that he has placed in the book, layers upon layers, okay, um, in the book will stretch your attention and your accountability and responsibility to the world. Um, and I know that as we dive into the juicy bits and things of his book as we go along, he will be able to enlighten us even the more because, like I said, I'm learning too. Alina can talk about some other stuff, some self-help and journals and Christian romance, but he has taken me into an arena that I didn't think I was going to be reading. And I thank him for that. I thank him for saying yes, and I thank him for sharing his beautiful work of art with us. And all right, I know y'all are saying, Alenia, get to it, get to it, get to it. I am. I'm going to read just a snippet of his bio. His full bio will be in the description box. So you will be able to go back, learn just that much more about him besides what we talk about today. All right. Aaron was born in New Jersey in 1963. He learned to create short stories as a child while attending school and earning consistently high marks in his writing classes. He developed a centered spiritual essence very early on and would sit with his grandmother and discuss spiritual topics with her. Did y'all hear that? He developed a centered spiritual essence very early on. And his book, it resonates through his book when that is written. That right there is a clear statement of or the author of Origins, Testament of the One. It is with great honor and great pleasure that I drop the mic today to our guest, Aaron Colbert. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Allenia. It's definitely an honor to be invited to the Joy Nook. I'm looking forward to telling everybody about the book Origins, Testament of the One. And I thank you for taking time to visit with me today and hear more about this exciting work and perhaps the other books that's coming down the way. So for me, Origins was interesting. I had often thought well, let me do it this way. There's not many science fiction people of science fiction writers of color. And so I decided to move down that realm. I've always had a love for science fiction, albeit Star Trek or Star Wars or anything like that. So driven as a young boy thinking about all that stuff, helped get me to where I am in this book now. So the driver, though, for me was several different points. And as Allenia said, it's a book that has many layers to it, but it really all begins with the simple question from a perspective of a young man looking up in the sky late at night and seeing all those millions of stars and thinking to myself that, why are we here by ourselves? How is it that, we don't have a whole lot more interface going on with all those stars around us? And so I decided to kind of take a look at that and to create an anthology or a story of the reason that we got to where we are. And so it is my tale, or the origins tale. And so there's a lot of characters in there. The book has elements of science fiction. It has epic fantasy. It has horror in it in certain areas. So it is definitely a book chock full of a lot of different realities. But they all basically point to the one thing, and that is the human equation. And so it's about, treating each other fairly, moving from a just perspective. And so that's one element of it. The other large element of it is the way that we interface with another life form that we do not believe is living, but is in fact living. And that is the earth itself. And I am just astounded at the level of pollution and just the terrible fashion in which we treat this satellite called Earth. And so I decided to put that in there as well. So from a very top level, there's the human equation. Right there with it is how we treat Earth. And then along with that is how did we end up in the place that we are? And so what I'd like to do is read a snippet to you. It's within the book, of course. The way the scene opens up is there is a shaman, and he's speaking to one of his young warriors, Native American. And they're getting to a point where they've interfaced for hundreds of years because these folks live a whole lot longer than we do. But this young guy has yet to take on the mantle of adulthood. And so this is kind of his first soiree into that. And the shaman's name is Strong Wind. The young guy that he's talking to, his name is Cochise. And I'll take you through a short portion of the book, and from there we'll chat about some other things as well. So let me do a quick read here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Always embrace your reality as soon as possible, said the shaman whose name was Strong Wind. as he knelt over the carcass of a buffalo. Red Star thought too long as a man and forgot that he was a buffalo, Strong Wind continued. And this is the consequence of that action. Look here. The tracks of the buffalo lead straight to the path of the wolves, Strong Wind said, as he pointed to a buffalo trail that made no sense. Is this the natural path of the buffalo? Strong Wind asked, the young one named Cochise. No, this is not the natural path of such, Cochise answered, as his eyes followed the twisted, unnatural path towards the large wolf pack tracks. But why would Red Star do this? Cochise asked. As I said, Red Star thought as a man thinks, while too long in his other skin. He did not take the buffalo spirit quickly enough. Strong Wind gently spoke, but with stern tone. The ancient shaman, Strong Wind, conversed with awe from the knowledge that a quiet voice is better heard than a shout. Cochise had heard this tone before from Strong Wind, and he knew that this vocal inflection meant to take heed of the lessons to avoid dire consequence. Cochise leaned closer to Strong Wind as to not miss any of the next Strong Wind words would speak. He saw the wolves as the brave sees wolves, and so he walked towards them instead of running away and joining the herd, Strong Wind spoke. And as he spoke, Strong Wind began to move his hands over the buffalo's corpse, an motion used to free spirits that are good and bind those that are not. There must have been 20 wolves here. This ending shall become a song of woe and caution, Strong Wind said. They are the hardest songs to write and the toughest to sing, Strong Wind continued to speak as he moved with pronounced grace and care around the site where the buffalo lay dead. You will write this song, Cochise, the song of Red Star, said Strong Wind. Cochise, a young man of 140 night streaks, a night streak being that of a visible path of Halley's Comet, which it leaves in the sky at night. Strong Wind asked why. Well, actually, Cochise asked why. Cochise knew the importance of the strength of tribal laws. Everyday rules of the tribes took hundreds of years to become tribal laws, as they were tested in the crucible of tribal life for at least 100 years before being considered possible law. The tribal law for writing songs such as these was one of the greatest and oldest of all tribal laws. Sacred law, for man stated, only shamans and the named warriors of the tribe can write songs of such things. They must be men who passed into manhood and had held that station for at least 100 years. Warriors were men who fed and faithfully defended the tribe, and they were allowed more than one woman to cherish. The first woman was chosen by the brave's parents. Other women came to the warrior from the tribal council. When a woman is left alone by the death of her warrior, she selects a new warrior after her mourning time is done. She herself presents to the tribal council the names of a potential new mate. From her list, the council selects a warrior, and that warrior accepts his additional companion without protest or contest. And if she has children, they too become his responsibility. These warriors were the ones called to the chief's fire to discuss the things of life. They were not young men on their journey to manhood, but were established and seasoned providers. Cochise had not even been given his first woman. Strongwind's face was hard yet compassionate. Life and spirit knowledge of years uncounted had long been his. With gentle purpose, he cut Red Star's bloody talisman necklace from the nostril of the beast, so that it gently slid into a pouch he held in his other hand. This necklace has seen a horrible thing, Strongwind said. It is with the most tender approach that it will tell its story, Strongwind continued. Cochise, you must know some things before we proceed. It is true that only warriors, and especially shamans, may write these songs. Do you know why? No, answered Cochise. I only know it to be the law. The ancient being set himself on the ground and motioned for Cochise to have a seat next to him. This action connected them to the earth. It was in this symbolic connection that the earth itself had a calming effect to both of them. It gave to them both the understanding that they are still remembered as the earthen pure and grounded to a simpler, cleaner time. That all was not lost between earth and her chief stewards, the immortals, and not man. The sun was high in the sky, and yet the shaman looked as though he sat beneath a shade tree. The things I tell you, you must never forget. This day must live with you always, Strongwind said. Cochise gave no answer, only the deep, respectful nod of his head. Always move from a position of peace in life, Cochise. This is the way of the Great Spirit. All other forms of thought are pale illusions of peace and are detractors from the truth. Always commit totally and quickly to the new skin you are walking in, and never stay too long from the birth skin. There are other rules we will discuss in your life's journey, but we will begin here, he said. You must tell or write the story as the first deed after it is given to you, and no story is too small and none too great. They are the threads that hold all life together. Without the words, there are no stories, and without the stories, there is no life. And one last thing, the stories can be retrieved from the living and from the dead, each with its dangers and traps to those of us who have the extra senses. So I'll stop there. That, of course, is the exchange between Cochise and Strongwind the shaman. And I will pass things back over to Allenia.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much. Uh, as you were reading, I I had my first question in my head, and then you just read, and I said, "Oh no, 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 no! I need to ask. I need
You
to
understand?
ask this." So, as I was reading, the one thing that I noticed, well, before I even started reading, I noticed in the back of your book you had placed. You have a whole all the characters and descriptions of the characters. And as someone who isn't a reader of sci-fi, was that purposeful that you did that, and why?
Yes, it was purposeful. I wanted folks to kind of get a glimpse of the full picture that they were going to run into as they read through all the various books.
Right.
And so I just painted the Pantheon in the first book. And that way I wanted to give the readers a chance to kind of move through the other characters and wait in anticipation of those showing up on the scene in the follow-on books.
Got you. Got you. Because I was just like, oh, why didn't you just read that first?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I did. I was like, shame on me because I saw it, but I did. I was like, oh, you read that. You should have read that first, and then because I was doing the oh my god, oh, let me go find that character and let me go find that character, so I understood it so much clearer.
Yeah.
Once I
Yeah.
started doing that.
Absolutely.
So and you had a lot of different characters. What was the purpose of you having so many characters? Because I mean, it's a heavy hitter of characters.
Yeah, there is, and that purpose was essentially because I was building a world, and more than a world, a universe.
Yes.
Because these folks, as you will see, are going to be challenged in a lot of different fashions.
Right.
By Mother Earth itself. There's something that goes on there that leads them to have to make a leap of faith, somewhat.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. So
Right.
it's a lot of stuff going on.
Right. And I and and like I said, I know that you know with science fiction, you have so many different um, things that could be, not be. Um, so, where was your real inspiration in pushing your novel the way that you did, in the direction that you did? Because there were some things I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie, Aaron, you had my face all smushed up, going, why did you write that?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
did. I'm gonna be
yeah.
honest. I was just like, why did he write that? And then I had to, when I went back, I was like, oh, yeah, it's world building. But what made you do it in that such complexity?
Well, I tell you, with me, it's everybody is accountable for their deeds,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I was writing the book, it's not just a clean these guys are evil and these guys aren't, or these guys are the right folks
Okay.
and these guys aren't. We're all very complex beings.
Right.
And so there's parts of us that you love, and there's parts of us that you'd rather not even deal with.
Right.
But Allenia, to be honest, on the edge, there are those folks that are beyond redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then there are those folks who can be redeemed. So
Right.
there's all those various aspects and layers to the book.
Right.
It's funny because there were some characters that actually had my face twisted up as I was writing them. I can't believe this, and I almost took them out. And I said, but in life, you have the full spectrum of
Right.
folks that do great things and those folks that do things that are just unspeakable.
Right. Right. Make you say, what the ham sandwich?
Absolutely. Twice. Yep, twice. Say, what is going on with this?
Right.
Yep.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was just like, Olivia, don't tell that man that. But then I was just like, I was so mad.
Exactly. Yeah. I was mad when I was writing it.
Okay, so then I feel okay.
Oh, yeah, that's the emotion that I was hoping to invoke. I mean, it's reflection. I mean, you kind of look at it, because when you step back from it, you say, you know what, there were parts that folks played on both sides.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's kind of why I put that in there. But it was painful to do that.
Right, right. And that's why I said in the beginning that, it was a closer look to accountability for us.
Yes.
As humans, And, we have a responsibility to the gift that has been given to us. And and as I was kind of reading through and, really pushing myself, because like I said, you pushed me.
Oh yeah.
Your book pushed me. And as I was reading through, I'm like, where am I going? Like, I kept saying that, like, where am I going? And, what questions? And I like in the beginning of the book, you write, I don't know. And I'm like, how often do we use that? And like you said, as the people, the different characters, but I don't know, for me, could be different than someone else, than someone else, than someone else. And there's a clear responsibility. And sometimes I don't know can be innocent and unintentional. And then sometimes that I don't know can cause such chaos and devastation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and I'm speaking to the latter. Everybody
Right.
has a moment of ignorance and first encounter of things. And
Yeah.
and we all should have patience with that.
Hmm.
But when you see the same thing going on and on, like a perfect example is, the pollution of industry.
Yeah.
And you ask these guys, why are you doing this? And, at first, it was kind of an I don't know, but then it got worse into a situation where they know what they're doing, they just don't care.
Exactly.
So, but it all begins with well, I didn't know it was going to create this sort of thing. Well, now that you know, why are you still doing this?
Do it. Accountability, right?
Exactly, exactly. I
Oh
mean,
my.
you spend so much time, in my opinion, trying to fight, let's say, a terrible thing like diabetes from the standpoint of medicine. But
Hmm.
really, we should be pushing healthy eating, exercise, and
Right.
just an easier, happier life. But
Hmm.
it's easier to go down the world of pharmaceuticals. There's a lot in there, but I'll leave that alone too.
Right. But it's that a quick fix.
Yes.
I think the world is going to that. Everything's a quick fix, and not everything can be fixed so quickly.
Yeah.
As it's easy to create the chaos, but you quickly cannot get out of it and,
Yeah.
and fix it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it is. You reap what you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do, and I appreciate how you saw it. And one of the things that you said in the beginning as well, when you started speaking, before you started reading, you said one of the reasons why you decided to go in this avenue, down this route, was because there isn't anyone out there, really many out there, of color, doing this.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
and with that being so, who or what authors did you kind of, I would say, glean on to really help you navigate this new journey of writing for yourself?
Well, for me, it was Tolkien, Martin from the Game of Thrones,
Hmm.
Stephen King, Isaac Asimov, Roddenberry.
Mm.
So those are the folks that kind of inspired me. And like I said, it has an element of all of those things going on in it. There are
Yeah.
certain things that point to Stephen King's kind of genre of horror.
Hmm.
When you look at something, you go, oh my goodness, So, I wanted to add that element to it as well, because a lot of things that happen in life are just horrible. But
Right.
then there's other things in life that happen that are just splendidly graceful and wonderful too. So
Yes, yes. And I saw that, and as you were saying just that, and you had all these different inspirations. Were you at any time, did you feel like this is just too many different things, too many layers going on? It's going to really mute the point and the direction I want, or the origin's tale to go? at any point in time did you feel that?
There were points when I kind of looked at it and I said, this is getting, it's a big story with a world and a universe that I was creating. And so I had to kind of settle myself down from the standpoint that I wanted it to be that deep. Because I wanted people to kind of take it from where I'm going and with their own imaginations, move it to where they want it to be and look forward to the second book. So I wanted that layer in that I wanted that element in the book because in life with me, it's all of those elements have purchase in my life.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's what I really wanted to create. And I also wanted to put in something in place that's a modern day world unto itself, to take like a Tolkien philosophy and bring it into something of relevance today,
right?
In a science fiction sort of way.
Exactly. Well, I tell you, you did it. You had your girl over here go, what?
Absolutely.
I told my husband, I can't read it at night.
This guy is getting on my nerves, Yeah.
I was like, oh, no. I'm reading this at lunchtime because he's going to make it so that I'm going to have all the lights going in the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, so I don't mean to digress. I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and be honest because my husband was like, don't you tell him that. I'm like, I am. I'm just
yeah. And that's the emotion that I wanted to invoke with the whole thing. So I'm glad to hear you say that. I really am. Because there's characters in there. One of my favorite characters is Chi.
Uh-huh.
And she has those tattoos. Yeah. And she is just wonderful. She moves with she's untethered to all of the, how would I say it? She's really real. Mm-hmm. And there's a point in the book where her best friend Tony is looking at her and thinking about a thing in nature and how that object in nature reminds him of Chi's power and her grace. So she's one of those ones that you kind of read and you take a breath and sit back and say, wow, I really love this character.
Right. She's cool.
Oh yeah, she is.
She is woman Henry Moore.
Yeah, he's there. He's all there.
I'm not playing with you. No.
Yeah.
This is not going to happen today. Not on my watch. Not on my time.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I got that. So, was she inspired by anyone? Was that just something you're just like, oh, when I think of rock star type, kick butt kind of woman, this is what I think of.
For me, it's kind of interesting because when I look at women of color, that's what I see. And then, when I look at womanhood in general, that's what I see.
Gotcha.
But, being a man of color, I link to that quickly because you see all of the trial and tribulations that women have to work their way through in both ancient and modern day societies.
Right.
And, to see time and time again, them rising to a place of grace and power. It just, the story never grows old.
Right.
And so I have in this novel women who are able to rise, but then tragically I have women who are not able to do that. And so it's that counterbalance again. It's the things and the people that you love, and then it's things that make you shake your head and turn on the lights at night. Yeah.
Exactly. Be like, girl, why you do that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I can't believe it.
I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. So with that, okay, so I know that she is your, that's one of your favorites. Which character was the toughest character to write?
Uh, there were a few. The one that really was difficult for me to write was Attican Bossman Stern.
Mm.
He was tough.
And why is that for you? Why was he hard to write?
Um, it's because he made me look at a side of an ethnicity that does exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I would certainly like to color it in a certain way where I could paint that out.
Right.
But, it's kind of interesting. We talk about the power of slavery and the decimation of it. And there's no way around that.
Right.
But then there are times when I think, to myself that there were men on the continent that were of such a character that they let their own blood go in that fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And, certainly the stories came back as to how difficult the lives were, from the folk that were taken from the shore.
Right.
But it's like industry.
Right.
You're going down that road and you say, well, why are you still going down that road when you have the knowledge of its destruction?
Right.
So he was very tough to me because he just he has such a problem with himself that he has a problem with everything else.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I like the fact that as complex as the whole preface of the story is, that you said just that there were several characters that were tough to write, So you even, it sounds like you challenged yourself as well.
Yeah, it did. Like I said, I would write those characters and I'd stop typing and I'd look out the window and I would just say, wow, this is almost too dark.
Right.
At points. But then I had to say, you know what, in life there are things that are too dark.
Mm-hmm.
But then, in life there are those things that are splendidly wonderful, and that's what makes life living for me, worth it. So.
Right. So, your opinion, and I know you wrote the book. As you were writing it, at any point did you think the world may not be ready for this?
That's funny. Every single word that I wrote, I thought that. I did. I looked at it and I said, "Wow," But you know what? It's interesting because there's a voice inside me that just had to be heard, and I couldn't silence it anymore. I just had to write it.
Right. So, how long did it take you to write this? To write Testament of the One, Origins Testament of the One. How long did it take you to write this?
It was quite a time. It took me about on and off about 7 years to write it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I would write some things and then I would go away because jobs and life and other things.
Right.
And then you come back to it. So, like a true love, you can never leave it.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a masterpiece, you have to finish it.
You have, right, because it settles in your spirit. Yeah. I know from writing myself, that thing doesn't let you sleep sometimes. No.
Yeah, it won't. It won't let you go. You're right.
Yeah, it doesn't. It holds on to you, with like great warm arms.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, when you coming back, I got this hug for you.
Exactly. Yep, you got it. That's it.
And then when you start, you feel that it's like I don't know, it's like an energy that you can't even explain.
Yeah.
I can understand. I can completely understand. So with Testament of the One, Origins, Testament of the One, I already know there's a 2. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. So who should we anticipate seeing any change in? I guess that's the best word. Yeah, that's the best question I can ask because that one popped off my mind. Just
Wait, could you ask that one again? I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, so which character for the second one, for the second book,
Okay.
which character is going to the second book and we may see a little change in them?
Let me see. I don't want to give too much away in that.
Yeah, I don't want you to give too much,
But you're right. There are some in the book that will change. But it's kind of interesting because some change in some directions and some change in another. So the fascination of the whole thing is those folks that started out on the road of righteousness might not end up on that road. And those folks that are on the road of, damnation and perdition may end up being the greatest saviors, So it's that kind of thing, I'm going to keep you on that roller coaster with me.
Okay. I tried, ladies. I tried to get it out of them. I don't blame you. Don't tell her.
Absolutely.
So, my last question that I have, and knowing me, I'll probably pop up with another question.
No problem.
So, for someone, and this is kind of like your advice to someone who isn't used to reading sci-fi, what suggestions would you give them in order to be able to ingest the material and be able to enjoy it?
I guess what I would say to a budding sci-fi reader or a budding fantasy reader is before you pick up your first book, make a commitment to yourself that you will allow your imagination to run wild. Let it be untethered. Just let it have fun. Let it get out there like a little child and run up and down the world and have fun, and with the understanding that you might not understand what you're reading at times, but in the end, you'll come out of it with your own special feel and understanding of it. But the main thing is the imagination. You really have to sit back and just say, look, whatever's written in those pages, I'm going to give it audience, and I'm going to be with it. I'm going to be present with it every step of the way.
Right. Ladies, see, look at that. I'm trying to give y'all some help because I know I needed it because my imagination wasn't there. So I knew I could not give the advice at all. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just ask him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to ask because I think a lot of women steer clear. But I think they're interested because of some of the movies that some women enjoy watching. That's what it is. It's fantasy and it's sci-fi, and so you're getting it there, and it's just now put into a book.
Yes, exactly.
Put into a book, and Aaron, oh my gracious, I have truly enjoyed the enlightenment.
I tell you, it's been a pleasure on this side too, Allenia.
Oh, good. And, before I close us out, do you have any words of, advice or just inspiration for that you would like to leave the audience? And also with that, where can they pick up your book?
Well, the words of advice or enlightenment, from my perspective, the thing that keeps me tethered and keeps me going is, when Christ and other folks of great spiritual power have said that, you can do far more than what they have done. And I have that in the beginning of the book. He says, verily, verily, you can do this thing because I go unto my Father. And so, again, the imagination runs wild. He's telling you, move through life unbound, untethered, with full blessing. So that would be my advice there. As far as the book, you can definitely purchase the book on my website, and that's at www.aaroncolbert.com. And as soon as you click on it, on numerous pages, you'll have the opportunity to read and meet some folks along the way and on the website as well, and also to purchase the book.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, ladies, see, I told you, I gave you my word. We have an author here that has taken us to a place when you read it, the worlds that he has built, the layers of and layers upon layers of characters and the interactions. If you're looking for action, it is here. If you are looking for something to take you out of your norm, it is here. From one who does not read science fiction or fantasy, I have really enjoyed the journey. I really have enjoyed the journey because, like I said, it has taken me to some place that I didn't even think I would be going, and sometimes you need that because I got something out of it that maybe you may get something different out of it. Me, I have accountability, and hey, some of y'all hot mess, some of y'all are not. Some of y'all think y'all know everything. And some of y'all just plain evil and ridiculous with with this life that you're living. But the reality of it is, he showed us in a science fiction way, but the reality is we are living in a world now, in a time, in a day where things that we used to question or we used to think was history is now becoming our reality. And if we don't start holding ourselves accountable first so that we can hold others accountable, then I'm afraid. I'm seriously afraid. And I know I am one that teaches, and y'all know I coach it. Accountability is key. If you don't own your stuff, you can never change anything. You can't impact anything. And that's what the sum of this book is to me, um, is just validating, yeah, whether it's fantasy or not, ownership of your behavior is so important. So, ladies, I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you again. Erin, please thank your wife again, Marcy. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. I have truly, truly enjoyed y'all. And ladies, remember, sustainable habits inspire mindful transformation to help you get your shift right. All right, peace and blessing, ladies. Bye.
All right.